Chase Center, Chris Bull and Darrell Wright and Bonte Hill. And Tuesday night, Willie gets the Lakers. Everybody wondered, how can the Warriors out-rebound the Lakers? How can they keep them off the boards? How can they control the tempo? How did they control the pace Tuesday night in their season-opening win over the Lake Show?
Well, when you play small ball, obviously you want to have a fast-paced offense, right? You want to dictate tempo. But with this Warrior team, with all the shooters they have in the half court, the spacing is so hard to guard. They just keep putting the defense in such a tough position, how to close out. We saw several wide open three-point shots. The lanes wide open because of the spacing. And just after one game, the Warriors basketball is right where they want it to be. So I think after the draft, we were all so excited about Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, rightfully so. I think with a lot less fanfare, Bonte and Darrell, the free agent acquisitions have really proved to be the exact players that they need, being Bjelica, Otto Porter, and Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mully. High IQ basketball players, and that's what Steph needs around him. Guys that know how to play, know how to move the ball. I'm looking forward to this team getting 30 assists every single night because these guys move the ball. They understand the hockey assists like you spoke about last game, so they continue to move the ball, make each other feel comfortable. This team is going to be hard to beat.
And so many times last year, especially the first month and a half, we saw shots that were created being turned down,
right,
which once in a while is okay, but if you do that all the time, it's hard to build the chemistry and rhythm in your offense. So now you have players, once that ball is kicked and they're open, there's no hesitation. They're shooting that shot, or if they don't like that shot, we saw several times a Warrior player drive to the paint and kick out to a more open player.
No doubt about that, and that's what Steph Curry having his a poor shooting night Tuesday against the Lakers. 5 for 21, 2 for 8 from the three-point line. But look, his pursuit of history continues tonight at Chase Center as he's 143s away from passing Hall of Famer and the great Ray Allen on the all-time list. But let's put aside the record books for now and discuss Steph's achievements off the court. Warriors insider Monty Poole joins us now via WebEx by Cisco. And Monty, we know Curry's great on the floor. He's going to have the three-point record. But talk about what he does off the floor that makes him so special.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, he began his career coming to the Bay Area, and he wasn't sure he wanted to be here. But once he got here, he kind of fell in love with the place. And what you see from him and what you hear about him are great things in the community. He does things for schools. He does things for recreation centers. Eat, play, learn. The foundation that he has with his wife, Aisha. Basically, Stephen is a walking sort of humanitarian. So when you look at his basketball exploits, he understands that his basketball exploits, his basketball greatness has given him the stage to do these things. And I think when you talk to him about these things, it's like he understands that basketball is my base. It's what I do. But if I stopped there, it wouldn't be enough. And so his parents, he said, kind of instilled that. You care about other people. You do things for other people. He's been doing that. And you get caught up in the records, the shooting and all these things. But he really is much more than a guy who can make shots.
And Monty, what about Chase Center here? Because last year, obviously, no fans due to the pandemic. The first year this building opened, Steph Curry got hurt in game number 4, and it was a rough season as they limped their way to 15 wins. How can the Warriors rekindle home court advantage here at Chase Center?
Well, it's going to be tough, I think. The place is different. You need to have fan engagement. That's first and foremost. The team has to be good, in which I think this team has a chance to be really good. If the team is good and the fans stay engaged, I don't mean that just the fans that are in the upper regions of the arena. I mean fans throughout. They stay engaged, stay watching the game on the court, not back in the suites on TV. As long as they do that, I think they can get there. I don't know if it will be as organic as it was at Oracle Arena, but when you look at the number of people who show at this building, at 18.5 coming in every night, they have a chance. The building is built to be loud. Let's see if they take advantage of it, because I know the Warriors need that kind of push in a season like this. This is the first time they really had a decent team, a really good team, and a chance to make some noise in the NBA.
And I think these fans behind us here, Monty, outside of Chase Center are raring to go. They're ready to see their Warriors take on the Clippers with a good basketball team. Monty, thank you so much. We'll talk to you a little bit later. Still to come, the VP of Basketball Operations, Mike Dunleavy Jr. He'll join us live here on set as we celebrate the 75th season of Warriors. The Destroyer has his number 16 retired. He was the coach, the longest tenured coach in Dubs history. We know Al here. He's been here his entire career, and they're going to celebrate him tonight, Darrell. You know Al. Mully, I know you know Al. Just speak about Al Attles for a second.
I love it. And, Al is a stand-up guy. Every time I saw him the 2 years I was here as a Warrior, and even when I came back, always had that impeccable laugh. His laugh is a little bit funnier than mine, but always a great guy when I seen him, and a hell of a basketball player as well. So congrats to Al.
Of course, a legend, but for so many reasons. His on-court excellence, his coaching this Warrior team to a championship, being a trailblazer, one of the first African-American head coaches to win an NBA championship. But more than that, Bonta and Darrell, I got to know Al Attles. He was also a general manager. One of his mistakes was drafting me. But despite that, we are very, very good friends. He humble.
Yeah.
His grace. Monty was just talking about Steph Curry, what a great, great player he is. And I was told by my college coach, Lou Carnesecca, the good ones do for others, and the great ones do for themselves, and the great ones do for others. And that's exactly what Al Attles has done his entire life, not just with the Warriors organization in the Oakland community. And the legacy lives on with JTA.
Yep.
JTA was introduced to the game of basketball by Wilhelmina Attles. So it's just incredible how giving and selfless the Attles family has been, led by Al Attles.
Hey, Monty brought up home court advantage, right? And we'll see about Chase Center. This is the third year of its existence. First year they went 15 games. You can't build a home court. But we saw it get loud when Steph Curry returned against the Raptors that season with the broken hand. Last year, no fans in the bleachers. What was the difference? What made Oracle so special? What made that one of the best home court advantages? And what can Chase Center do to replicate that, Darrell?
The best fans in the NBA, the most loyal fans in the NBA. Doesn't matter if we were winning or losing, they always came to cheer. They always came in to be that sixth man. So it was always an advantage when we got on the court. So I can't even wait to see how Chase Center is going to be rocking once the game get going, and then, having a good team, like you said, man. So I think they're going to show up and they're going to support.
I think the home court starts tonight, right? First home open where the fans are coming back in. They're thirsty and hungry to get back in the building. Right. Steph Curry, Draymond, all the new additions will get them pumped up. And you know what? At some point when James Wiseman and Klay Thompson comes back, another jolt of energy.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be rocking. Don't underestimate. They designed this building much like Oracle.
No doubt.
So the acoustics are there. This place will be rocking all season long.
No doubt about it. Fans are ready to go as the Warriors take out the Clippers. Tip-off at 7 p.m. And we'll discuss this young man right here, the lone superstar, Bonta Hill. Stick with us all season long on Warriors pre- and post-game live on NBC Sports Bay Area.
For more than 75 years, the Department of Veterans...
I don't know what that is. Is he the Riddler? Is he looking for Batman? I mean, that's some serious swagger right there.
Hey, he got that fit off, man. And that's a Lambo truck. Oh. That is fire.
Well, hey, Darrell, you can pull that off. You got the confidence to pull that off.
I can't pull that off. I can't pull that off.
That's 100% confidence.
All right.
On and off the floor. But I tell you what, he put on a show last night. Like you said, Bonta. It just shows you, too. You watch his jump shot. It's kind of a weird release, but it's the same way every time.
Yep.
So he works on it. He feels confident with it.
Yep.
And, man, he can see the floor.
He can see the floor.
He's a big-time passer.
He's a special, special player here. Let's look at the Warriors roster here and look at the ages here of the Warriors roster. It's a nice mix that they have on the roster. Of course, the OG of them all, Andre Iguodala, had a nice performance Tuesday night against the LA Lakers. And do you look at the youth movement? How valuable will Iguodala be to the likes of James Wiseman and Jonathan Kuminga? For more on that, let's go to Warriors reporter Kareth Burke via WebEx by Cisco. Kareth, good evening. As you're live inside the Chase Center, we're outside here, and we're talking about Jonathan Kuminga and James Wiseman. What's the latest on them? How close are those two youngsters to returning on the floor, and how much help has it been to have Iguodala in their ears this training camp?
Well, as far as the timetable, that's been a really popular question fans want to know. I'll give you a preview of the mailbag tomorrow, okay? Jonathan Kuminga will have his reevaluation date on October 22nd. Guys, that's tomorrow, so we're going to get an update on how close he is to returning, and James Wiseman is going to have his reevaluation date on November 1st. So both of those dates coming up. The next question is, well, when might we see these guys back? I think there's going to be some time in the G League first because they need, confidence is a consideration for young guys as much as conditioning. So maybe they get a collection of practices for some 5-on-5 full court breathlessness. Maybe depending on the schedule, we see some G League games. And then, yes, as you mentioned, having somebody like Andre Iguodala in the locker room to help these guys along. All of the rookies who come through, all of the young guys say Andre is the blueprint. They look to him for his leadership. They look to him for his business acumen. They also look to him as one of the older guys in the league. How does he maintain his body so they can get all of those secrets, all of those tips, and extend their playing career in this league as well?
All right, we're going to have more with you later ahead, Kareth, as you sat down with Klay Thompson at Media Day to talk about his boat. You may have talked about Rocco and much, much more. But I want to go to these guys and defer to Mully and Darrell Wright about the youth movement here. Because as we said, we're going to play that interview a little bit later. But Kuminga, Moody, Poole, Wiseman, how beneficial is Andre Iguodala in this locker room?
It's going to be super beneficial. Not only Andre Iguodala, you got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. That's all. Those are champions right there. So to be able to learn from champions, see how to work every single day, is only going to be best for him. I was able to be, mentored by Shaquille O'Neal, Gary Payton. So they're in great hands.
Yeah, and I think what's really important, and you can't express it enough, is these off-season acquisitions. They fit so well that this team is already playing mid-season form basketball. They got their style of play in place. Everyone understands it. Every time Steve Kerr makes a substitution, that player comes in and knows exactly what he's supposed to do, fulfills his role to the T. So when you try to plug players into that system, it's much easier. Last year, we were sitting here for 2 months trying to figure out who fits and who doesn't. That's already in place. You talk about a blueprint. And I do think once the season starts, it makes sense to use the G League to get some game minutes. Worked pretty well for Jordan Poole.
No doubt.
Right? And you talk about the mentorship by Andre Iguodala. I also think it's really important that he's also a really good player still.
Yes.
Because sometimes if you're just mentoring, after a while you become just a coach. But he has a lot of basketball left in the tank. And I think playing dual roles is going to serve all those young players really well.
I love the fact that the expectations are not too high for these youngsters.
Yes.
You talked about Jordan Poole making the leap. Moody, Wiseman, and Kuminga could just get in where they fit in right now. They don't have to carry the load. But Andre Iguodala, real quick, Bully, Tuesday night. This looked like Iguodala from 2016 in the Fountain of Youth, man. We saw him down in Miami South Beach, Darrell. And we wondered if he was cooked or not. Or was he just chilling with Pat Riley? Well, Tuesday night, he already made his presence felt very early in that Lakers game.
Definitely. And Iggy still looks bouncy. He still looks athletic. He's still strong. He still has those quick hands. So I'm really, really looking forward to Iggy having a big year this year. And I'm not talking about big, crazy numbers. I'm talking about a glue guy that's going to go in there, that's going to compete at a high level, and he's going to be able to show those young fellas how to do it each and every night.
And we talked a lot about James Wiseman, right? Simplifying the game for him. I think, again, with these additions making so much sense, be elites, everyone fitting in so well, you can really simplify the role for these young players, which is really what it's all about. You don't want a young player, you don't want to throw too much on his plate and him get overwhelmed. So when they're ready to play, they can have a simple role, fulfill that role, and it's going to lead to winning.
All right, let's look at the Clippers for a second here. Their projected starting lineup brought to you by our great friends at Ford. And the Clippers are beat up. We don't know Serge Ibaka. Obviously, no Kawhi Leonard. He could be out for the entire season. And, of course, no Nicholas Batum, who really rediscovered his game last year with the L.A. Clippers. Eric Bledsoe, he's back for a second stint with the L.A. Clippers. Paul George, of course, is the man of the hour. We'll talk more about that lineup in just a second, but let's hear from Ty Lue as the Clippers will try to limit their turnovers to prevent the Warriors getting out and running tonight at Chase.
Like I talked about earlier, I think the main thing and the main focus is just offensively taking care of the basketball. You know, you can't turn the ball over and let them get out in transition because they thrive on that, especially at home. And then understand you can't relax. You know, Steph's going to move constantly. The team constantly moves. You got to be aware of their cuts and their splits and, you know, the weak side movement. So it's a good game for us. It's a good test for us. They run great offense. They share the basketball. If you make a mistake, they make you pay because they have a lot of great passing. And so this is going to be a good game for us just to kind of gauge where we're at and see what we need to work on and get better at. But just happy to be here today. Like I said, first game of the season is always a great game and a great feel for your team and what you want to do and how you want to do things differently or, you know, so you just get a good gauge of where your team's at right now.
All right, the Clippers made a lot of noise last season, and of course, in the latter half of the playoffs, Kawhi Leonard suffered his partially torn ACL in Game 4 of that second-round series against the Utah Jazz. You see, overall, the Clippers were 11-9 without Kawhi Leonard. Well, that's obvious, right? He's a special, special player. But you saw them eliminate the Utah Jazz without Kawhi and take the Phoenix Suns to 6 games here. So Paul George had a lot of pressure on him here to carry the load, but he has help.
Yes.
Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann, who had 39 in that knockout game against the Utah Jazz here. It's not like Paul George is alone. This is still a talented roster, Darrell.
Oh, yeah, they still got a lot of talent, a lot of veteran players, a lot of guys that's been around the league and has been, playing at a high level. I think it's going to be a big year for Paul George to carry this team. I think it might be his first time ever having to really carry a team, but I think for the Clippers this year is identify who's going to be that second and third scorer. I know Reggie Jackson can do it. I know Marcus Morris can do it, so it's going to be interesting to see.
I mean, it's impossible to replace a player like Kawhi Leonard, a guy like Klay Thompson, Jamal Murray in Denver. These all-star players, it puts the pressure on the other role players to maybe play a role they're not ready for yet, or maybe they are. Well, this is game 1 for them. We'll see. They're missing Serge Ibaka. They're missing Nicholas Batum. So Terrence Mann had a very good playoff. Luke Kennard's going to have to step up. So they're not at full strength, but they're a very talented team. We talked yesterday about the last game about Brooklyn.
Right.
When you have 3 superstars and one goes down, they can go to Kevin Durant and James Harden now with Kyrie not playing. Now, with 2, Kawhi's out, it all of a sudden puts a huge burden on the bench. And we'll find out how deep they are. One of the reasons we feel so good about the Warriors season this year is their depth. And not only depth in numbers, but also the versatility.
Yes.
They can play small ball. They can go big. They can put out 5 3-point shooters. They can put a lineup out there with all perimeter defenders. So depth is great. But I think the Warriors have both. They have depth and versatility.
Yeah, Reggie Jackson, you brought him up, Darrell, right? This guy was in Detroit. He was lost. He said, look, the Clippers brought me back to life here. What was so impressive about Reggie Jackson's run in the playoffs? Because this is the first time we're going to see a Clippers team in a long time without Patrick Beverly, who was a nuisance up here at Chase Center.
Listen, Bonte, a wise man told me only take one team to love you, and I feel like Reggie Jackson found that team. Ty Lue, a former player who's putting a lot of confidence in him, so he's going out there. He had a big-time playoff, and he ended the season well. So I think Reggie Jackson, if he could get back to how he played early on in his career, he's going to be right at home here.
Timing and fit is everything, but there's no substitute for confidence.
Yes.
No doubt.
And he found his confidence. The timing was perfect. He's always had the great length. He's always had incredible talent. Maybe his stops prior to the Clippers were not the right fit, the right time, but now I know for sure his confidence is at all-time high.
It will be weird, I'm not going to lie, to not see Patrick Beverly in a Clippers uniform. He's now.
I don't think Steph's going to miss him.
No, Steph will not miss him. No. Speaking of
because he'd be guarding Steph already.
In
the locker room.
Pre-game warm-ups. The trio, Steph, Clay, and Draymond.
Al.
10th season in the
The
day.
destroyer, baby.
Mike Dunleavy Jr., VP of Basketball, also join us next. And presented by Comcast Business. Let's connect with Mike Dunleavy Jr., courtesy of our great friends at Comcast Business. Every connection counts. Of course, he was the 3rd overall pick back in the 2002 NBA draft out of Duke, selected by our great friend Gary St. Jean. And then in 2005, signed a mega deal. Chris Bullock gave him the bag, a 5-year deal. And then, of course, after a 15-year playing career, Mike has joined the Warriors as a pro scout and worked his way up to the VP of Basketball Operations. And he joins us here at the Gay House. Let's give a nice warm welcome for former Golden State Warrior Mike Dunleavy Jr. here on the set of the Warriors get ready to host the LA Clippers tonight. Tip off at 7 p.m. And Mike, looking good, man. How's the transition been from player to now VP of Basketball Operations?
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, we were just joking. I mean, there's nothing like playing. Certainly missed that, but it's good to be kind of back involved in the game. Really enjoy it. We've got a great group. I enjoy working for Bob and Kirk and all those guys, and we're excited about our team this year.
Mike, I got a question for you. How excited is the organization, the front office, with the early play of Jordan Poole? In my opinion, right now, I think he can be the most improved player this year. What do you think?
Yeah, well, we're really excited. Obviously, from where Jordan started as a rookie to now, probably not many people would expect him to be doing what he's doing. But to his credit, he's put the time in. And the kid is in the gym all the time, working on his game. He's got tremendously better. He's playing with a lot of confidence, and we've been dying to get a guy who can play like him and take some of the load off Steph, especially when Steph sits. So we feel like Jordan's going to have a great year and be a big help for us.
And he's put the work in. You can see just the natural progression, his fitness level, his strength, his balance. And what I really like, Mike, about his game now is he's using that three-point shot, that range, to create straight line drive, not only to score but to make some nice passes to the open teammates. So summertime, right? You guys had 2 lottery picks, so very unique situation. Championship caliber team, number 2 pick last year with James Wiseman, and now this year 2 more lottery picks. You get Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, 2 really, really gifted athletes. Again, probably take the same course as Jordan Poole in a few years to be able to contribute. That got a lot of fanfare. Free agency, not so much. And after after the training camp in that one game in LA, it looks like an incredible free agency to me. Bielitsa looks like the perfect fit. Otto Porter, 40% three-point shooter, and then bringing back fan favorite Finals MVP Andre Iguodala. Talk about the free agency and not so much the marquee names, but how you guys put into who's going to fit our style of play.
Sure. I think we learned a lot from last year with our roster. And then going into the summer, we took a lot of feedback from the coaches.